We've invited Ken McLeod, the policy director with the League of American Bicyclists, to join us here at our Vehicle Research Center for a little bike ride and chat to talk about some of the priorities that the League is working on. So Ken, thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us what the mission of the League of American Bicyclists is?
Yeah, the League of American Bicyclists is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to building a bike-friendly America for everyone, which means people having access to biking, being safe while biking, and having a culture that promotes everyone biking.
What are some of the things that the League is doing just to get people out there on bikes?
Yeah, we just had a great National Bike Month, which is every May, and that includes activities like Bike to Work Day, or a Bike to Everywhere Day, things like Bike to School Day, just events to get people out biking, to think about biking as a form of transportation, and the type of thing that you can do in your everyday life.
So what are the major safety priorities for the League?
We're really big fans of separated and protected bike lanes, so getting bike networks that allow people to get around their communities and get where they would like to go, but in a way that's separated from traffic, particularly at higher speed. When we look at that crash data, we see the most common speed limit for a road where a bicyclist is killed is 45 miles per hour.
And so I've seen your Slower Roads Save Lives campaign, which fits really well with one of the efforts that we've got underway, which is our 30 by 30 vision, which is our effort to reduce roadway fatalities 30% by 2030, and addressing dangerous driver behaviors is one of those. So can you tell me a little bit about creating slower roads that are safer for bikers in particular?
Yeah, I mean, slower roads are really important. Speed and kind of physics is the basics of what keeps people safe. So if we can get slower speeds on our roads, which we think is best accomplished through roadway design, we're gonna have safer roads, particularly for people biking, walking that don't have that protective barrier of a car or truck. And we found that in a lot of states, there might be some need for legal reform to make it easier for slower speed limits to be implemented. And then there's a lot that can be done to improve how we design roads so that people feel like they should go the speed limit, feel like it's a slower speed road.
What are some of the other issues that you're hearing from League members about concerns with driver behavior?
The biggest one I hear concerns about is distraction. People who are on bikes see people driving and see people driving while they're looking at a device, whether in their hand or those big screen infotainment systems that so many cars have these days. So that's a huge concern that I hear almost every day.
One of the main emphasis areas for our 30 by 30 vision is addressing some of those driver behaviors. Another one is commercial vehicle safety. And we're not just looking at large trucks like you see on the interstate, but your delivery vans and smaller commercial vehicles that really do share space with bikes and pedestrians.
Yeah, I mean, we see those deliveries increasing, and having delivery vehicles that have crash avoidance systems, that have good visibility so that they can see people biking, walking around them, it is really important.
Looking more broadly at crash avoidance technology, one of the things we're expanding on as well is testing for how well those systems can detect bicyclists, because we've seen those systems, which aren't super common for bicyclists, they do help prevent crashes.
But we also can look over to the European New Car Assessment Program, where they've been testing bicyclist automatic emergency braking since 2018. They show that it works when it's implemented. So it's the type of thing that we just need to test in the United States and have more consumer information about, because it's the type of thing that can save people's lives. And I hope that people want to save lives when they're going out and purchasing new vehicles.
When vehicles do hit pedestrians or bicyclists, those larger vehicles like SUVs and pickups are more likely to cause injuries and fatalities. Are you hearing concerns about that from your membership?
We do hear those concerns, and we hear those concerns just in being able to see people in vehicles, being able to see around vehicles, that visibility that kind of is lessened when you have such a large vehicle. We also see it in studies like IIHS has done, where those taller front ends, those blunter front ends, have different crash dynamics. And for people biking, that means they're more likely to be shoved onto the concrete, where they might get a secondary collision or even be run over. So that's definitely a worrying concern.
What's your message to somebody who's just not gonna ride a bike? They're just not into it, they're never gonna ride a bike. Why should they care about a bike-friendly America?
I mean, a bike-friendly America is really about people in America having options for how they get around. So, even if you don't bike, that person biking is one less car on the road in front of you, one less car sitting in congestion with you. It's also someone who's getting great physical activity and that kind of addresses the problems we have with chronic disease and physical inactivity in this nation. Finally, it's a great economic development opportunity for communities. People who bike take more trips, shorter trips, and end up spending more in their local community.
How can people learn more about the League of American Bicyclists?
You can learn more about the League of American Bicyclists by going to bikeleague.org or finding us on any major social media. We also have a great Connect Locally app on bikeleague.org that'll connect you to our member organizations throughout the country.
Awesome, and you can learn more about IIHS and our 30 by 30 vision over at IIHS.org. Ken, we've got some pretty nice roads around here. You wanna go for a ride?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.